The military shows off its new U.S.-made tanks, while other forces participate in the country's biggest annual exercise. Another focus of this year's drills is urban resilience, preparing the public for a worst-case scenario. Plus, Central and southern Taiwan count the cost from Typhoon Danas, with thousands of homes still without power. Hello and welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Eric Gao. Taiwan's military is holding some of its first public shooting drills with its newest U.S.-made tanks. Although separate from the annual kuang exercises, they are still part of Taiwan's effort to showcase its firepower in the face of increasing aggression from China. Our defense reporter Jaime Okan went to Hsinchu to see the new hardware in action.
One by one, U.S.-made Abrams tanks engage targets at sea at a base in Hsinchu, in northern Taiwan. They're demonstrating the punch an M1A2T Abrams designed specifically for Taiwan can pack. Taiwan bought 108 of the tanks in 2019 in a deal worth $2 billion, part of a plan to modernize the armed forces. The country's president, Lai Ching-te, says they're key to a larger combined arms strategy.
我相信 以你们实战演练的成果，一定可以让 M1A2T 战车在未来搭配无人机，或者是创新的战术战法，一定更可以落实国家的战略目标。
With much of Taiwan's tank fleet over 30 years old, there were concerns it couldn't hold up in a fight with China. But now, with modern U.S.-made Abrams rolling in, tank crews say they are finally getting the edge they need.
操作部分比以往的60A3来的方便、快速且反应比较快。新式战车有辅助电源及冷却系统，那它可以在战车在防御的时候不发车，也可以提供战车炮塔及射控系统电力。那冷却系统除了可以冷却炮塔内部的机件，也可以提供人员的舒适度。
These live-fire drills are happening alongside Taiwan's biggest annual war games, the kuang exercises. But the military says they're not connected, as Abrams are not yet on active duty. Despite these shooting exercises not being a part of the kuang drills, the Army says it's still important to showcase these different kinds of capabilities, especially if they're going to show how to defend against a full-scale invasion. Military units have mobilized across the country for the second day of the kuang exercises. Thousands of soldiers and a wide range of hardware are practicing getting into position as quickly as possible if China attacks.
平时多一分训练，国军就多一分战力。国军多一分战力，国家、社会、人民就多一份安全。
With kuang in full swing, Taiwan is now set to conduct more complex operations, all with the goal of finding gaps in its overall defense. Gaps they hope hardware like the Abrams will eventually help fill. Fu Huahong and Jaime Okan in Hsinchu for TaiwanPlus.
Residents in 3 cities across Taiwan are practicing what to do in case of an air raid while they're out shopping for groceries. It's part of the country's largest annual military drills, which are shining a spotlight this year on urban resilience. Alan Liu has this report.
As Taiwan's largest ever military exercise, the kuang, gets underway, one focus is on testing the country's urban resilience. To do that, a rehearsal drill is being held at the supermarkets in downtown Taipei, preparation for a nationwide civil defense exercise starting on July 17th. The drill includes an air raid alert broadcast, running through evacuation steps, handling customers' reactions inside the store, assisting with emergency medical care, and finally lifting the alert. This is the first time Taiwan is combining two major civilian exercises under its urban resilience concept. It is also the first time a major retailer joins the drills. The rehearsal began at 10 a.m. in 3 cities: Taipei, Taichung, and Tainan. The official exercise will take place later in July. At that time, stores will shut down, only resuming normal operations half an hour later. The government says this is to show Taiwan's determination to protect itself and its people.
Prepared people cope better. That's an idea that we are trying to tell our society. But I also want to send a very clear signal to the international community, is that Taiwan is very committed to our own security. So we won't back down in any forms.
As China's security threat to Taiwan continues to grow, people here say hardening the country's civil resilience is a good course of action.
有演习就是之后真的遇到事情的时候，比较不会惊慌失措，我们在边哦。
我是觉得防空避难针的政府要多出一点力量，老百姓才比较会安全。
This year's civilian exercise features a real-time, unscripted approach. That means the drills are not fully planned out in advance, and emergency equipment only arrives on site the day off. Evaluators then carry out random scenarios to test how the teams respond on the spot.
所谓的无剧本演习，其实并不是完全不知道要做什么事，而是今天就好像考试一样，你知道有国文、英文、数学，可是你不知道今天先考国文还是先考数学。
This year's Hanguang runs from July 9th to 18th, the longest on record. With air defense drills requiring public participation, the exercise highlights the growing resolve of Taiwanese people to take part in national defense. Joseph Wu and Alan Liu for TaiwanPlus.
A highlight of this year's Hanguang exercise is showing how Taiwan's military counters China's gray zone tactics. To learn more about this type of coercive action from Beijing, TaiwanPlus reporter Alec McDonald spoke to former Pentagon Senior Director for Taiwan, Mongolia, and China, Tony Hu.
There's recently been a lot of increase in gray zone activity. Can you quickly go through, for those unfamiliar with what gray zone activity is, what does that mean? Could you give us an example?
Gray zone activity are those type of things that destabilizes the government, but it's short of act of war. So things such as the recent Chinese intrusion into Taiwan's air defense identification zone, crossing the center line, and also the use of the maritime militia to disrupt Taiwan's fishing activities. And even economic coercion is part of the gray zone activities, such as China stopped importing from Taiwan's agricultural products and fish and stuff. They try to use the people, such as the farmer of the pineapples and the fish growers, to complain to the government. So these are the type of things that's short of act of war, but it disrupts a targeted government.
There's been recent discussion that the PLA has shifted to making gray zone activity a main part of trying to take Taiwan, and that they're going to aim for coercion first before attempting an amphibious assault. Is that the way that the PLA is heading?
Gray zone activity in and by itself will not be able to convince Taiwan to surrender. But what it does do is tear Taiwan apart from the inside. Gray zone activity includes disinformation and cognitive warfare, where if you look at the current split within Taiwan, the people who's saying, hey, let's just be nice to Taiwan, the people who promotes appeasement, for example, they take a totally different position from the ones who wants to protect Taiwan's freedom. So that within Taiwan is very strong forces to tear Taiwan into two camps. I think that might be China's overall grand strategy, where tear Taiwan apart from the inside and let PLA come in to finish the job. But tearing Taiwan apart from the inside in and by itself is not going to cause Taiwan to surrender to China. The PLA still has to come in. So therefore, it's part of the grand strategy, I believe, and trying to make it easier for China to attack.
So in that case where we see a sudden increase of gray zone activity, and then it turns into an amphibious assault, what potential risks are posed by that specific situation?
China does have a very large military. However, Taiwan, because of its geography, it is protected by water. And no matter how you try to take over a region, you still have to have feet on the ground to say you have it, okay? So China, no matter what, needs to cross the Taiwan Strait. And Taiwan Strait, in a military term, is a kill zone. It's a clean kill zone. When we fight wars, such as in Ukraine, for example, you see some movement up front, you have to be able to identify it's a friend or foe. You don't want to shoot your own guy, right? But if Taiwan Strait is clear, there's no friendly forces over Taiwan Strait, everything that come over is enemy, you just shoot into it. It's a very easy kill zone because the time you spend to do identification friend and foe is a time that uncertainty also sometimes makes a difference whether you win or die. But in this case, everything coming over is an enemy, you killed it.
That was former Pentagon official Tony Hu. Stay tuned to TaiwanPlus for more coverage on this year's Hanguang exercise. 2 U.S. senators have introduced a bill to boost the security of Taiwan's undersea cables, calling for U.S. support for Taiwan against China's gray zone tactics. If passed, the bill would promote U.S. and Taiwanese cooperation in monitoring suspicious activities in Taiwan's waters. China uses these so-called gray zone tactics to disrupt Taiwan's communications and security, including suspected sabotage of undersea cables. Since 2023, those cables have been disrupted at least 11 times. 2 people are dead in the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv after Russia bombarded the city with missiles and drones. 13 more people were injured, with homes and vehicles reportedly on fire. It comes a day after Moscow carried out its biggest single-night drone attack of the war, sending more than 700 to strike Ukrainian cities early on Wednesday. 9 people reportedly died in that attack. The barrage mainly targeted the western city of Lutsk, a key point for receiving military aid. Ukrainian officials say air defenses were able to limit the damage. The attacks follow U.S. President Trump's decision to resume arms shipments to Ukraine. He now says he is considering sending Ukraine Patriot missiles.
They would like it. They've asked for it. They're very rare indeed, because a lot of systems have been sent to Ukraine. But they would like to. I know they made the request. We're going to have to take a look at it. They want to prevent death. They're getting hit hard, very hard. So we're looking at it.
The Patriot is the U.S.'s main mobile air defense missile system. Former South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol has been sent back to jail as prosecutors investigate his brief martial law declaration last year. The Seoul Central District Court approved a warrant for Yoon's arrest, saying he is a flight risk. Yoon's lawyers have called the prosecution's investigation hasty. In April, South Korea's Constitutional Court upheld Yoon's impeachment, removing him from office. He is also facing criminal charges over his attempt to impose martial law. Stay tuned to TaiwanPlus News, because coming up after the break, we have the latest on the upcoming lawmaker recall votes that could flip the majority in Taiwan's legislature.
How does Taiwan stay on the forefront of innovation in a world of uncertain tariffs, wars, and shifting geopolitics? Get answers and more, from award-winning programs to exclusive Mandarin dramas. Download the TaiwanPlus app to any device today. No ads, no bias, just facts. TaiwanPlus.
For more stories from Taiwan and Osaka, download the TaiwanPlus app.
In the face of adversity, the power of truth.
A roadmap for a just and open world, charted by the freest country in Asia.
Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
TaiwanPlus News, a voice of freedom in Asia.
Start your weekend with a cup of coffee and a moment to reflect on what happened this week.
Hello and welcome.
We've got you covered, from defense and politics to high tech and the arts.
Not just to Taiwan, the whole world is watching.
You make the coffee, we make the news. Here's what happened on TaiwanPlus.
I know I didn't grow up in Taiwan, but it felt like I did at times. I used to go down to Ren'ai to play basketball with some of the kids. I shadowed a little bit.
There's so many fans. We have so much support from everyone and all the fellow basketball lovers here. So I love Taiwan. Taiwan's just another home away from home.
那我们球场见。
Game on Taiwan, where the action lives.
Welcome back. You're watching TaiwanPlus News. Doctors are joining Taiwan's unprecedented recall campaign to remove dozens of opposition lawmakers, as campaigners from both sides ramp up efforts to get voters to the polls on July 26th. Tiffany Wang reports.
Medical professionals from around Taiwan are calling for a cure for what they say is a sickened democracy.
我们团结在一起，要积极处理不容延缓的大事。我们如果任这些国会的癌症细胞继续以多数的霸权为书掣走，让我们台湾会有什么的后果？
Taiwan's two main opposition parties, the Kuomintang and the Taiwan People's Party, together control the legislature. But now, at least 26 KMT lawmakers face a recall vote this summer. The ruling Democratic Progressive Party only needs to flip 6 seats to regain the legislative majority. With the first round of recall votes only about 2 weeks away, campaigners are ramping up support, including prominent recall leader and founder of chipmaker UMC, Robert Cao.
这希望当然是罢免越多越好。 啊，然后改选回来啊，让这个国民党的在国会的影响力啊，能够尽量的消减，因为国民党这个影响力就代表共产党的影响力嘛。
The KMT has argued that cross-strait communication and dialogue are essential for peace in the Taiwan Strait. China has not had any contact with presidents from the ruling DPP in over 10 years. With control of the legislature at stake, major KMT figures are throwing their support behind party lawmakers facing recall.
因为在台北市过去没有投过罢免，所以很多支持的朋友不清楚要怎么盖，那就是盖至多的，所以我们希望能够和台北市国民党5位立法委员持续的努力。
With just 2 weeks to go before people head to the polls, campaigners, lawmakers, and their party will be busy trying to secure as many votes in their favor as possible. Justin Wu and Tiffany Wang in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
The issue of the death penalty is taking center stage as lawmakers grill President Lai Ching-te's second round of justice nominees. Prosecutor Tsai Chiu-ming, the nominee for Grand Justice and President of the Judiciary, spoke to the legislature on Wednesday. He says he does not support abolishing the death penalty, which was ruled partially constitutional last year. Tsai is one of 7 people nominated by President Lai to fill Taiwan's top court. That court has not been able to hear cases due to a new measure requiring a minimum of 10 justices to do so. U.S. tech giant NVIDIA has become the first company in history to hit a $4 trillion valuation. Shares in the chipmaker rose 2.5% on Wednesday, hitting an all-time high of $164 a share, driven by soaring demand for AI technologies. The milestone came as Wall Street rallied on hopes of interest rate cuts, with investors shrugging off inflation concerns tied to new tariffs introduced by U.S. President Donald Trump. U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened tariffs on 8 more countries, with Brazil facing the biggest blow. Trump has sent letters to Iraq, Libya, Algeria, Sri Lanka, Brunei, Moldova, and the Philippines, announcing tariffs ranging from 20% to 30%. Brazil was hit with a 50% tariff. The Brazilian government says the move is unwarranted as the U.S. runs a trade surplus with the country. It adds that the tariffs will hurt the U.S. economy. The tariffs will take effect on August 1st. Power is still out in thousands of homes, days after Typhoon Danas tore through central and southern Taiwan. A final tally of the damage might take some time, but the estimates are already steep. John Van Trieste reports.
The cleanup after Typhoon Danas is now a national affair. The military is helping remove the fallen trees that litter Taiwan's west coast from the center to the south. And some cities spared from the worst of the storm, Kaohsiung, New Taipei, and Taoyuan, have sent teams and equipment to help, too. There's still a long way to go before life gets back to normal at the center of the damage path. Even 3 days after the typhoon passed, some people are still stunned at what they saw.
来不及呀，就是先救车子，然后车子救完再救东西，根本来不及。它很快，我们这里像滞洪池一样。
Cars are ruined, basements flooded, streets are washed out, and everywhere there are uprooted trees and utility poles mixed in with rubble. Work to restore power and water has made major progress, with most of the grid back online, but around 68,000 homes are still in the dark. Many people around the region have felt despair these past few days.
无电啦，无电视啦，冰箱物件歹了了啦。中央哦，甲市政府哦，会来甲照帮助。
Some of the worst damage has been to agriculture. Losses across the country are expected to hit around $55 million US. And it's not just crops. The many fish farms that dot the mid to southern west coast are seeing mass die-offs as they remain cut off from the power needed to run the oxygenators for the ponds. Some in the industry feel ignored by those who could help them.
好像就是弃婴一样，只是在旁边隔壁村庄作秀。我们呢，下一餐在哪里都不知道。
Schools and workplaces remain closed across much of Taiwan, even in some places not so hard hit. There are two problems. One is that schools or campuses didn't escape the storm's fury. By one count, over 550 schools and museums suffered some kind of damage. But secondly, the rains haven't let up, as unstable weather takes over where the typhoon left off. For much of Thursday, the entire south of Taiwan is under a rain advisory. For some residents, the worst of a week of extreme weather may not yet be over. Andy Xue and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
More and more people here in Taiwan are getting inked up, a big change from the past when tattoos were seen as a symbol of rebellion and even criminality. Our reporter Sandy Chi explains what's changed.
In a world of ink and needles, Hori Fu, a renowned tattoo artist here in Taiwan, has been leaving his mark for well over 4 decades. Fu is a living legend in the tattoo community, with a legacy etched into the skin of thousands of people. He began his tattooing career at the age of 16, when there were not many resources or mentors in the country.
就自己就有兴趣去搞那一块，就去研究它，对，去找书籍啊。那时候书籍还很少，我记得也是很后面才看到日本的一个杂志。
When Fu was first getting started, tattoos were not widely accepted by Taiwanese society. This form of art was traditionally linked with rebellious behavior or brotherhoods and gangs, making it extra difficult for tattoo artists like Fu to run a business.
那时候我们的招牌，那个警察还会来关心呢，就是不给挂，就是因为他们觉得这个是，就是会有可能会兄弟来这里聚集吧，所以那时候是属于很地下的一个文化。
Fu says gang members in Taiwan usually get tattoos related to their religious beliefs, which many call Taiwanese tattoo style.
是因为台湾有正头文化，那个就是庙会，所以庙会他们那些文化就是他们有他们信的神明，什么七爷八爷啦、关将手那时候有一阵子很多那个年轻人都来吃那个东西。
But things have changed a lot since those days. Now, it's not just gang members getting tattoos, it's people from all walks of life. From office workers to doctors to artists, and from young people to seniors, making tattoos a popular art form.
台湾这几年不是这个角头的电影很风行，那再加上我们的媒体本身自己，那又对这一块的部分也蛮推崇的。所以相对的，你看以前。 只要是包手啊，或者是包脚这种，然后一看到大家都觉得是兄弟。可是你在现在路边随便看到，到处都是。
Tattoos have gotten so big that there are annual exhibitions which draw thousands of tattoo enthusiasts, each with their own reasons for getting inked.
流行吧，流行，然后就有想去刺青，然后就开始一次就没有停下来了。
这台湾的神明就是妈祖，我觉得妈祖对我来说意义非常重大，所以我才会想把妈祖刺在我身上。就比如说我的事业，像我在开车，我就觉得他把我带在身上会有一种保佑的感觉啊。
Tattoo styles have also become more diverse, including Japanese styles, lettering, watercolor, and illustrative tattoos.
风格的自由度变得蛮高的，因为我那时候还在当学徒的时候，其实基本上是没有那么多风格，然后其实也只有传统店。
With the growing popularity of skin art, the Taiwan Tattoo Union says there are around 6,000 tattoo artists in the country. No longer an art form that has to be hidden or avoided. Artists like Hori Fu can run their businesses openly and proudly promote their work. Patrick Chen and Sunny Chi for TaiwanPlus.
And thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. You can visit our website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, check out this 360-degree immersive experience in London featuring interactive videos of dinosaurs and other creatures from the Cretaceous. I'm Eric Gao. Take care. We'll see you next time.